Hi guys, welcome to Metal and Rock Zone. I guess you have no fucking clue what band I'm gonna talk about today. Yeah, you guessed it. It's Kiss. Just saw them tonight in O2 Arena in Prague. They just started at least the European part of their end of the road tour and went to the concert. So this is a late night edition about Kiss. I wouldn't do this for any other band, but I also just wanted to do it while I still had the makeup on. So what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the show, the band and the individual performances of the band members. I want to talk about the set list, the atmosphere, and a little bit about if and how then Kiss can continue after this if they choose to do so. Before we start, then our social media, that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and that's at Metal and Rock Zone. We share shorter videos, pictures, quizzes, a lot of different stuff that you don't get here on YouTube. So Kiss, me and Kiss, it's a band that has kind of always been there. I saw them first when I was like 5 years old on a poster at my uncle's place, and I fell in love immediately because, you know, the makeup and all that stuff. This is 1978. I'm 50, Kiss is 50, and so they have kind of been around. It's one of those bands like Rolling Stones that's just been there ever since I was a kid, you know, and I never somehow thought that I would see an end to it, you know. It's like, I don't know, losing a parent or something, you know, it's just something that has been in your life your whole time. And I fell in love with the band, obviously. I did that before knowing the music, and then I started knowing the music a little bit, and I was pestering this uncle of mine to kind of record his albums onto cassettes for me and stuff like that. And whenever Kiss came on TV, you know, everybody had to be quiet at home and everybody had to watch because this was Kiss. My first vinyl that I bought was Creatures of the Night. So I have a long history with this band, and I even said in a school book when I was 6 years old that when I grow up I would become Paul Stanley in Kiss, or that the band would kind of call me to replace him, which hasn't happened yet. And now I have the makeup on, so they still have a chance, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I've seen the band a few times before, and when I saw this advertised, I thought, okay, if this is the end, which they have actually promised a lot of times that it would be the end, but I really think it's kind of the end now. I thought, okay, I have to go and see it, and I have to do it with the makeup. I've never had this makeup on before. So I spent most of the day today getting makeup on me, plus my foster family that kind of adopted me to go to a lot of different concerts here and goes with me to a lot of concerts. So we all were wearing different makeups, and it was a lot of fun. And this tour has been going on, as I said, almost, yeah, they started 2019 and they're still going. I mean, they took a break because of COVID and all that stuff. And it makes you wonder, they also said, I think in 2005 or something, that that would be the end of the road, or the final tour and stuff like that. And you think this band is super rich. I mean, they made money. They invented the game of making money off, you know, patches, T-shirts, action figures, whatever, you know, skateboards, all the stuff that you could buy. And you wonder, why do they do this, you know, because it can't be that they're missing the money or anything like that. But I have a feeling, actually, and after watching the show, is that they kind of like it, you know. It's the only thing that they have ever done. So it's hard to tell these people, you have to stop doing what you're doing. You wouldn't tell that to a painter when he's 70, yeah, you can't paint anymore because you're 70. So I kind of, yeah, at this show I kind of realized that they actually still just, this is what they know how to do and this is what they love. The arena, O2 Arena, it's like 18, 20,000 people here in Prague, used for a lot of concerts. And I was really surprised when I came that there was just no people outside. And but the few that were there, they kind of loved us for the makeup, you know, because we were the whole band and they were asking us to take pictures and stuff. So I kind of had like a near Paul Stanley experience, you know. I felt like him for a few seconds, a few clicks on the cameras. There was some pretty cool merchandising there. It was really expensive, and the tickets to the concert as well. And that's a little bit of like, guys, you know, like, haven't you made enough money? Couldn't you just tune this down a little bit? So there's no other band that I've seen lately that has priced their merchandising as expensive as Kiss. Even Iron Maiden last week were cheaper. And the ticket price, this is the most expensive ticket that I bought. I think it was like $150 or something per person, which is quite a lot. So yeah, as I said, not a lot of people outside. So I was like, okay, yeah, ticket prices are working against you guys, you know. But then when we came inside, we realized, okay, they're just all in there. Nobody was gonna miss out on Kiss. And it was actually the same last week on Iron Maiden. Like, I came and there was almost no one outside. And then when you came inside, it was packed. there was a warm-up band called Dirty Honey. They were actually kind of cool, like kind of old-fashioned southern rock somehow. So check out Dirty Honey. I was impressed. I've seen them once before, I think, and it's a good kind of warm-up band. They get the crowd going. Kiss started at 9 o'clock, and the usual kind of intro. They had like a big, what's it called, like a tent. Or is it tent? I don't know. A screen with the Kiss logo on or Kiss letters on, and then somebody comes and said, you wanted the best, you got the best, Kiss, blah, blah, blah. And then it falls down. And they started with Detroit Rock City, and I probably saw Kiss 8-9 times or something like that. I never seen them start with any other song than Detroit Rock City. And it's a good song. It's one of my favorite Kiss songs, so I'm very happy that they start with that song. And the crowd, it switches the crowd. People went nuts, when they saw them. And the band came out like blasting with energy. It was really, really cool. And they did the moves, like these usual moves here, the guitarist and Gene Simmons. And then they went into Shout It Out Loud and Deuce. So it was kind of so far so good, like 3 really good songs, high energy, and they changed the themes kind of behind them when they were playing those songs. So on Deuce, I think they showed some really old footage from like the first album and stuff like that. And that was actually kind of throughout the show they did that. I'm just gonna take off the vest, it's a little bit warm. And yeah, and then they did I Love It Loud and Heaven's on Fire, and they really worked the crowd. And it's interesting that Paul was really good on this. He starts working the crowd super early on the concert, and he kind of maintains it throughout. Unlike a lot of other bands, they often play into like song 5, 6, 7 or something before they kind of start engaging. But I think he did it already like in song number 2 or 3, and he kind of kept it going. And with the singing though, what is interesting is that I often have a feeling that he is assisted somehow. He has something on a backing. I'm sure he has something, but not always. And he has also kind of changed the songs in a way that he can sing with his voice. And you can hear it when he's speaking or shouting between songs, that his voice is really kind of tricky for him, I guess. And but he somehow changed a lot of songs in a way that he can actually get away with it. And it's not bad for a 71-year-old. Now, with the assisted singing, there are also songs that I have a feeling that he is not really singing a lot himself. But I don't know, and that makes me always a little bit uncomfortable because, I mean, lately there's been a lot of conversation, dialogue about, our bands faking it and stuff like that. Should we be paying for seeing someone play something off tape? With Kiss, I feel it's a little bit different than with a lot of other bands because they have so much else going on, you know what I mean? That is somehow, you almost forgive them for it, but still it kind of plants this seed. You think, oh, is this real, is it fake? And you're kind of looking for it. And it's the same that happened with me on Mötley Crüe last week. You can check my review here. I was always kind of waiting for Vince Neil to fail or waiting to see if Nicky Sixx was actually playing the bass. So, but overall, it was good to see him. He was really, as I said, good with the crowd and all that. And the songs, of course, I mean, these are great songs. There were 23 things or items on the set list, but that included some solos and stuff. So there was actually just like 19 songs that they played. The jams and solos and the bass solo, there was a guitar solo, almost 2 of them, and one guitar jam. There was a bass solo, there was a drum solo. And there was a time where it was kind of dragging out, to be honest. And it pains me to say this because I love this band so much, and I loved them ever since I kind of saw them. And then this was also kind of happening in the program around when there were songs that I felt that the crowd wasn't really following. And there is this Psycho Circus, Say Yeah, and Making Love. Making Love is an old song. Say Yeah, I think as well, actually. But the crowd wasn't really onto it somehow. No, Say Yeah, yeah, it's old. And I felt that they kind of lost it a little bit around the midway part. And that was, yeah, it's weird to be seeing this band for the last time. There's a lot of nostalgia going on. I have the makeup. I spent the whole day being painted. And then I'm like, shit, I'm bored. And that's not a good feeling in a concert like this with your idols, Gene did his kind of usual God of Thunder with the blood and all that stuff, and he was kind of elevated up. And I felt with him that actually his singing ages better somehow than Paul's. I mean, obviously he sings very differently, has a different vocal range and all that stuff, but I don't feel that he struggles with it. I've actually seen a lot of videos of him playing in smaller clubs and stuff like that, where he's not backed up by any backing track or anything like that, where he actually does a great job. And I don't get it why actually he doesn't communicate a little bit more with the crowd and kind of allows Paul to rest his vocal cords. He definitely needs it more than Gene. So Gene is a little bit more passive towards the crowd, but that's also kind of part of the image, you know. He's the guy with the blood and he's the scary guy, you know, so he can't be saying, oh, I love you guys, like Paul does. Um, so, and then they do the usual thing, like when they play Love Gun and I Was Made for Loving You, then Paul comes kind of through the crowd on a swing and plays or then sings those songs on a platform out in the crowd, and that was really really cool. And of course people went really nuts, and it's a nice thing to do. I mean, they've been doing this for years, but it's nice that everybody kind of gets a closer look, even if they're far away from the stage, because he kind of comes all the way to the back. Uh, they did also Black Diamond, where I just realized once again how great the singer Eric Singer is. What a name for a great singer, Eric Singer. And he did also the first encore song, that was Beth, and that was for me like a goosebump moment. You know, that was always a song that I, as a kid, knew that this is something about love and it's difficult love and stuff like that. I didn't really understand. I didn't understand the lyrics back then. It's a really, really great song, and he played the piano there, and that was a really nice moment, you know, all the telephones and all that stuff. And yeah, for me, that was kind of the highlight of the gig. The second encore was Do You Love Me, which is also a really nice song. I think it's of Destroyer, and then they ended as usual with Rock and Roll All Night, but like a very extended version with millions of fireworks and confetti and some beach balls falling from the ceiling, and you know, or like this from swimming pool balls or whatever you call it. And so yeah, that was like a 7-minute version of Rock and Roll All Night or something with that. And I think, yeah, like there was a lot of songs from a lot of albums, but there was, I think, 5 from Destroyer, 4 from the debut album, and then there was 2 from Creatures of the Night, and 2 from Rock and Roll All Over, and then the rest was kind of one song out of each album, or like different albums. What I felt was missing there of the set list, and I'm having the set list here on the screen now, is they didn't play Crazy Nights, and I would have liked to see Tears Are Falling as well. That would have been a nice bonus for me, but that's just because I really like that song. But Crazy Nights is definitely a song that I think they should have on their program. What was interesting there is I felt like, and we were talking about it, me and my friend, after on the way out, that there seems to be a good atmosphere in this band, and it was a very different thing from Iron Maiden last week, where you almost had a feeling that they didn't want to be there. This band wants to be there, you know, like they want to be on the stage, and the quality level is extremely high. I have a feeling that nothing happens in the Kiss camp unless it's, you know, perfect and 100%. Now, Tommy on the guitar, he does a great job playing, because I have a feeling in a lot of the songs that Paul isn't even kind of pulling his weight, you know, that he's just dancing somewhere and has the guitar up here or something, and then Tommy is kind of playing the whole thing. And the crowd, yeah, they were good at singing along. Apart from these 3 songs, as I mentioned, there was Psycho Circus, Say Yeah, and Making Love, that I felt that they just didn't know the lyrics, and and that kind of came in a mix with those bass solos and guitar solos and drum solo, and it was kind of off in a way, weird. And yeah, it was. But I think people had fun, and I can imagine for people that don't go to a lot of concerts. I go to a lot of concerts. I'm a concert addict, so obviously my bar is extremely high, but I can imagine that for someone who hasn't gone to a concert for a long time or has never seen Kiss, this is gonna be a unique experience, you know, like, and you don't get just the anthem, but you get the whole thing, the show and theatrics, and you know, all the stuff that you see. I mean, Kiss kind of, as I said earlier, they kind of invented this stuff, you know, like the makeup and all the stuff around it, and the fireworks and the lights and the blood and the tongue and all these things that are going on there, and they really, really use it to the maximum. My rating on this, I'm in a generous mood because I love this band, I love them. This is my first love in rock and roll. This is what got me started in rock and roll. Before this, it was just the Smurfs or Mini Pops or something. So I'm gonna give them 9 out of 10, but I'm being generous. I'm being a little bit generous. I think a fair score here would be 8.5, but I'm gonna stick to 9 because it's Kiss, and I'm wearing the makeup, and who knows, maybe one day they will call me. The pros, so almost all the standards were there. You know, like I don't look at this set list and think, okay, they were just playing everything off the new album or whatever. I mean, there's no new album, but the latest album or something like that. The band was in really good form. You felt it that they enjoyed being there and they enjoyed being around each other. Of course, this is just the second or third gig on this leg, so obviously they haven't started smelling each other's toes and stuff like that. So, you know, they're not tired yet. They were really good with the crowd, especially, obviously, Paul was great with the crowd. Yeah, the lights and video display was really, really cool. And the whole swing thing and elevating the drum kit and elevating Gene and all that stuff. And yeah, they liked being there, and that kind of transmits to the crowd. The negatives, less is more, somebody said to me on the way out of there. And that is actually true, because as I said, they could have even skipped those 3 songs, and I think that I mentioned, and I think it would have been a better concert, or they could have cut down on some of the soloing, and we don't necessarily need to see this. Maybe some people like this, but I just think that it kind of breaks down the atmosphere a little bit, and I would have wanted to see Kiss just come in there, play 15, 16 songs, and just no breaks in between, and just let the crowd sing the choruses and stuff like that, and just get off there, you know. But anyway, they did it this way. And yeah, I would have liked to see Crazy Nights. I mean, it's not because I love that song. I just think it's a great live song, and I think it works great with the crowd. It was expensive, and as I said, I mean, this better be their last tour, because if I'm gonna have to pay again this next time they come around, then, you know, I might think twice. And I went and bought the T-shirt, and it says "End of the Road," you know, and must be end of the road then. And here comes a weird thing, and I don't know if I can say this. The explosions were too loud. I don't know if, you know, can explosions be anything but too loud? But they were actually so loud sometimes that it actually took from the music, and it disturbed you somehow, and I think it kind of kicked people a little bit out, and, you know, you were like this, and so that was weird, because, you know, explosions are supposed to be loud, but I don't know if these explosions were set to 11 instead of 10 or something. So yeah, that's it. And then the question, what happens after this? And I've been thinking about it. Of course, they could do like a Las Vegas residency in some hotel or something, play there for a few months, or seasonal or something like that. But they could also kind of recruit some people just to go on stage with the makeup. There's a candidate here, and put that on the road and try. Who knows? I mean, I have a feeling that these guys are good with money, and they could put something together that they make money off. Then, you know, they would keep it going. What do you think? Do you think Kiss will continue somehow, and would it be a success if they put other people out there to perform their songs and their music? Because if we face the facts, then there are 2 original members there now, and we don't really notice a big difference. I mean, I know some hardcore Ace Frehley fans are pissed off that he's not in the band, but Tommy is a great guitarist, and you can't say that he's done a bad job. So yeah, that's Kiss. That's the end of the road for me and Kiss. This is the end of a beautiful love affair between a little boy from Iceland and a band from New York. Yeah, I will keep loving Kiss, and I will honor their memory, but this is probably the last time that I will see them. So thank you, Kiss, for everything that you've done for me. You got me on to rock and roll, and later on I went into some heavier stuff, but you were kind of always there in the background. And thanks for everything. It's been a pleasure. Guys, thanks for watching. I have recent episodes about Iron Maiden and Metallica and Mötley Crüe, and then there is more upcoming. I'm gonna go and see Pantera this week, and then or next week, and then Gojira as well. So stay tuned, comment, like, share, all that stuff. I love to hear what you think. If you've seen Kiss, what do you think about them? Is Paul Stanley singing this? Is it on tape? All the dirty details, give it to me. Over and out.